Oh, that's just a beautiful frozen camera. Yo, what is up, people? It is, well, last night late, noon here on the West Coast, but last night late for us was day one of Redbull Romaniacs, and we're just gonna check out the live section. As if you're a fan of the race, you know that it's through the mountains for 4 or 5 days, and they have these sections that are live, brought to you by Liette, and yeah, we're gonna go watch this. Before I got about 35 minutes, 40 minutes before I got to go. I'm actually building a house, so got to go meet an engineer on the lot and figure some stuff out. But until then, we'll get into this. So this is...
Now, these are the live scenes. We've got Manny in the section. Manny was 1 second faster than our predicted time this morning. So he's right on track, and he's just entering this section. And this is where I was saying it's a little bit one-lined here. It's pretty soft there underneath those pine needles.
So Letten Bleckler here, he is...
this first lap done as fast as possible. And,
he was second overall in the prologue yesterday. So I think he went out first. And
first isn't the favorable position here.
He's entered this section. They're going to do 3 laps on this section right here.
To do early on in the day, it could be that he gets 1, even 2 laps done without anyone else even entering the section.
Yeah, that will be a great advantage for him to clear the section, or at least get the first 2 done out of the way without any traffic in there. Because as the other guys start coming in,
it's a great camera angle.
They're going to have a bit of traffic to contend with.
Yeah, and you know, there was some later on starters like Teo Kubachev back in 10th. I think he's going to want to try and make up as many positions as he can before he gets here, because that the multi-lap element of this part of the racetrack.
It's actually insane how easy he makes this look.
Other riders can come into play, and despite not being on the same lap as you, they're trying to get through the section and complete their 3 laps as fast as possible. So it's kind of every man for himself out there. Just entering the steep part. So Manny is actually taking the wide line, getting a run up at it. He's I think looking at it, it's pretty grippy. I think he knows if he...
Manny coming off a minor knee injury, and he's looking good.
Taking time to get the run up at it. He's made it up there, pretty mistake-free. So he's riding good. Doesn't look like the knee injury that kept him out of Serbia for the last round is causing too many problems for him, and he's looking his usual self out there to me.
So Alfredo should be second on the road. We should be seeing Alfredo coming into picture any minute now, but he is losing time on the overall standings for the day so far. He's sitting down in 7th position, but he is second on the road. We'll see him coming in pretty soon.
So Manny's physically first, but it doesn't mean that he's
Mario.
Manny, first lap complete already.
He's in first overall right now.
That was super quick. I mean, that was
but
sort of about
huge advantage for him to be able to get out front, and then also kind of be able to get through this live section before, because I had to do 3 laps in this. Everything else isn't laps, but so he has got his time here to click these off.
So Manny's on the downhill coming in to do his second lap. We're hoping to get some pictures of Alfredo. In the 2023 edition, Alfredo was the first on the road, and less than a minute before his start, he had some issues with his dash plates on his bike, and he had to do some quick repairs, which wasn't ideal for him because, you know, it's a little bit stressed out on the start line, lost a bit of time, and just hope that today he's got a clear run into it.
I'm sure that wasn't as stressful as the Gustarica finish hill for him in 2021 when he saw the wind disappear with his bike parked up on top of the ledge. So he's definitely had his fair share of stressful moments in these parts. I see Manny now in the downhill. It's not the most difficult downhill of the week, but it's
Manny coming into lap 2.
And the fact you know, charging through it 3 times, it does get quite physical. Manny's riding well.
This section actually looks fun, and we'll see what it, once everybody else gets into it, what it actually looks like. Because Manny is just on another level.
Put his wheels on for the rest of his climb.
So he's just lining up to shoot it up here in this section. See how just keeping his wheels on the rocks as much as possible, because that's where the most traction is. Here in this super soft sand, not as easy.
A lot of traction at the minute this year by the looks of things. On the rocks, that is. In between the rocks is looking pretty loose, but this climb in particular does have a pretty hard base. So if you can find the rocks, there's plenty of grip. And obviously we're just about 30 minutes into the day, just over 30 minutes into the day. So
just so easy for this guy.
And they're also going to be feeling pretty strong. So I do expect a pretty high pace from just about everyone through this section. I guess we'll see afterwards just how much effort people are going to put in when we have the 5-minute liaison section or 5-minute timeout section, where the helmets will probably come off and we can get a good indication just how hard the guys have pushed out there.
And Manny did himself a lot of favors yesterday in his great results at the prologue, because he's closed up within 2 points of Wade Young in the overall standings of the
wow. So
he's now 2 points behind Wade, tied with Mario in second place.
Manny missed that round because of his knee, and he's still 2 points off the championship. So he is wow.
Also made it just as easy. I think good to see that both lines are possible should we have a bit of traffic later on as some of the later guys get past. And that's that ledge I was talking about from the track preview. But you know, I wouldn't really expect Manny to struggle on that bit too much. You know, he's done that plenty of times, and there's just a gradual climb. It's pretty steep from here to the finish, but yeah, straight up to the top, and lap 2 complete.
2 down. Nobody else in
so he's gonna go across
this section yet.
Down the downhill, and could be back into his 3rd lap before anyone else arrives. Billy, the setup the guys are running nowadays, I mean, you want your moose to be as soft as possible. Is there a risk of that moose collapsing a little bit before the end of the day, or?
There's always a risk, but to be honest, that's the risk is there. But you don't hear that happen too much these days. To be honest, you know that the mooses have got a lot more durable. You know, they're I don't want to say they're made. The manufacturers are kind of making them knowing that they're probably going to get drilled and cut to pieces, and they know that, you know, for what we need them to do, everyone kind of has their own little tricks of the trade. So you don't tend to hear that much, but it is always a risk. You know, I'm always semi-concerned about it. I do have a few extra kilograms on most other riders, so that is a concern of mine. But there's plenty of rim locks in that rear wheel. Should that the things get really soft, you can just about survive to the finish. But
if you're not familiar with what they're talking about, for the hard enduro, there's no air in the tire. So you take the tube out and you put full foam insert in the tires. And then you drill holes in those and cut them, and you want them really, really soft, like the equivalent of running like 3 to 4 PSI. Very, very soft tire, and very, very soft compound in the rubber of the tire itself. So you just eliminating all. You can't get a flat tire and just maximize traction. But if you watch that rear tire in certain shots, you'll see how much it flexes and moves. There's Johnny Walker.
Far behind Manny here, just about 5 or 7 seconds. So there they are on the same frame now together. Remember that Manny is on his last lap. Johnny coming in for his first. So Johnny has got past Alfredo.
Manny managed to stay on his bike that time as well, so that's he's clearly getting better with each lap and showing, you know, he's really putting the hammer down now. I think he's probably gained a bit of confidence knowing
So
that
Johnny's
2
struggling
laps
here.
done
And Manny was
no one's
pretty
caught him yet,
clean
so
all
he knows that's
3.
probably
He got off his bike that
good
second lap,
5-minute
but
lead on the road. That
lap
is
he
giving
greased
an
this.
advantage
Second
on
lap
everyone from his
or third
starting
lap he
line.
greased it.
You know, he's typical.
Made it look easy,
In
which
this
makes you
race,
think
he
that,
is,
oh, I could do that. And then you see a guy like Johnny Walker, you know, not necessarily
Johnny
struggling,
riding
but
this
just
section
that was
off-road
not
is
nearly as
due for
quick.
the first time now as well, because he hasn't seen this before, but he'll be looking out for Manny's lines where he's been hooking up and finding traction. Manny almost at our last checkpoint. So this is that groove in the rock here, where he's just looking for the groove in the rock to get the good drive.
Inside line again, and even easier this time. So definitely using each lap, building up the knowledge, and looks like he's executing the best of the 3 here on the last lap, which is always nice. You know, when you get slightly better each time, it shows you're learning and yeah, making the most.
Manny has been
the advantage he has,
extremely dominant the last few years. Completely undefeated last year.
I'm pretty sure he's only barely broke a
He's
sweat, to be honest.
essentially undefeated this year, minus
the
missing that round because of his knee.
Just showing why he is the
And it'll be really interesting to see
champion of this race.
where he's at for, you know, the next 3 days, because this is a long. They do this for all week, and this is just a section.
So this year he would have been mindful about that and just picked his lines, make sure he got a good drive.
Yeah, so see that is Johnny not having that experience of the past years, didn't know that outside line race, but he's made the inside line work pretty well there.
So
Little
Manny
bobble, but
is, with Diana
right up
there
it.
in the 5-minute box. Let's hear how Manny went through the course.
Hello guys, I have Manuel Lettenbichler near me. Just having some problems right now. I hope it's a good point for an interview. So Manny, do you have time for an interview or shall I wait a bit more?
He's working on, so he's got 2 GPSs
Okay. So
for
we all know
the
that
course.
You've been through a surgery not too long ago. How is the system going? Is it running good? Is it okay? Do you feel any different?
Nah, pretty happy. Feeling quite good actually. It's pretty hot out there. Like, you sweat so much, but I'm feeling pretty good, and I'm quite happy to ride such a good pace. Like, nobody caught up to me yet. Just Johnny's in the loop, but other than that, quite happy.
Billy, I've heard him just saying from the commentator's booth that this section, this loop, is actually one of the easiest ones from the past years. What do you think about this?
It's super loose today because it's so dry, so it definitely doesn't make it easy, but I'm quite happy. I want to just have a shootout really quick to the team. I want to change to the suspension setup from last year if somebody's watching. So, but other than that, I'm
my God.
pretty happy with the riding so far.
What a call out.
Okay, thank you very much. Good luck for the rest of the race.
Thanks.
I think he'll be able to switch
Back to you.
his.
So Benny-
There will
Benny
be a
talking about
checkpoint where he can
changing the
switch suspension.
setup there. So
Pretty clever to get the shout in there now for the team watching. That just shows he's a clever lad, and yeah, hopefully someone at the service at the service point has got the message. I'm sure by the time he gets there, the message will have been relayed, and there'll be last year's suspension ready to go.
Alfredo.
Alfredo now also into the section.
He was racing. He raced Silver Kings in Idaho a few months ago, or last month. I think he got second.
It seems to be that this year, this very first part of the uphill, or second part, I guess you could say, the second climb on this tight left-hander is what's causing the most difficulty. It's the only part that got Manny off his bike and seems to have got everyone else off their bike so far. So this first part where the guys are having a little bit of difficulty. So we've got Alfredo, Wade and Johnny into the section now by the looks of things. I think the guys are going to start coming through thick and fast from this point.
Thick and fast. That's what Billy
We
says.
should see Mario.
I want to be
as
like
well.
Billy when
Mario
I grow up,
should be
dude.
coming
That
into
guy's
the
so
picture
sick.
fairly soon, so it'll be good to have all 4 of them here battling it out on this section.
Here's Johnny on lap 2.
Johnny now lap 2, but I think
Let's see if he's got this
visually
clean this time.
the pace difference to Manny is quite clear. You know, he was pushing the pace as hard as he can.
Off the
See
bike
Johnny
again.
having to get off and push his bike, which is not ideal because, you know, it really pushes your heart rate into the red zone a little bit and tires out your muscles, which you don't want to do so early on in the day. They've got some really heavy sections ahead of them, so you want to just conserve as much as possible and not go too much into the red zone.
It definitely does. Each time you're off the bike and give it a little and have to start pushing is a definite spike of the heart rate. I'm wondering.
Yeah, you do not want
I
to
mentioned how loose it was
burn
with
matches.
The ground just before that rock, which we can't see, is super loose, and it just prevents
You only have
any
so many
kind of
matches in the
momentum
match
from
box, and then
falling
you're
onto that rock, because from my
on the
memory
side of the
it
trail,
wasn't too bad,
throwing
but
up and
like I say, the ground
just
is
not
changing.
having fun
It's,
anymore.
You know, every year we come, it's always a little bit different, and like Manny said, it is pretty loose out there.
We had a bit of rain here a few days ago, but you know, it would have been soaked in really quickly, and once that top surface of the soil gets broken away, it's all just loose and dry underneath. So Wade just doing a nice pivot turn there. He's going to go up and over quite a big ledge there before he's through his first lap. There he goes over that ledge.
I wish there was a
Nice
top-down
line.
camera right there,
There's the shorter
because
line.
there's a ledge that looks pretty
Yeah,
rough.
Wade also will have done this section quite a few times, so have quite a bit of experience at that ledge. Oh, a little bit hooked up on something there. I think one thing, the ground will definitely, there's getting less and less dirt in between the rocks on this section every time, you know, each year, especially now doing 3 laps on a section like this. So some of the rocks will start to get exposed a little bit more, and it's quite easy to have a rock just kind of caught on your swinging arm, or not on your
Caught on
tire,
your
but
swinging
just
arm.
kind of pushing it away from you, and you can often get caught off balance just when you're expecting the bike to move forward, and there's no forward motion happens.
It'll be interesting to see as this develops
Now
if it
also
becomes
section, so we got 4 guys.
if it becomes
It's all kind of
harder,
different, so
or
it's
if these
gonna
guys
be
start getting
competitive
through it
battles
easier.
just
Certain
yet.
sections,
Maybe
like
there's
they
a few more in there, but
they either get
my
easier with
choice
tracks
might
or
start
they
coming
just
into
get
let's see how
absolutely
Mario
worse.
gets on this first section, which typically has been the hardest part of this section so far.
He's just taking a moment there just to
Nice.
look at his line, which is really clever and smart, because if you rush into the section and take the wrong
a
line, it's
beautiful
just gonna burn
move.
your energy.
That's nicely done. He seemed to stay a little bit lower on the hill. Tend to waited a little bit before he made the left turn, which has worked, but just a little push there, but that's not going to affect him too much. It was just more a case of didn't want to burn the tire, burn the clutch out, just get off the bike and take the load off the engine, but nicely done there by Mario on his first lap.
Nicely done.
Mario's outstanding on the hill climbs, especially when it gets to the really long, steep, fast ones, second, third gear climbs. There's not many better hill climbers than Mario, so those sections will be coming up now after this Liat Live Maniacs. They've got 2 or 3 big climbs ahead of them, where Mario will try and close that gap on Johnny and Manny.
I think it's about 140 kilometer day today too, so we're up there on one of the longer ones for what we're typically used to, which Mario's always a fan of, and usually we're at the end of a 5-hour day and he's complaining saying it wasn't long enough, so I think hopefully he's satisfied with 140 kilometers today. We'll see by the end.
That's a lot. 140
Mitch
kilometers?
Brightmore should be coming into picture
What
in
is that?
about a minute or so as well. Mitch had a fantastic display at the prologue. You know, his trials background coming in. He was only himself and Johnny were launching off the Milwaukee toolboxes over the fishing pond, which was really impressive.
86
And over these
miles.
really
Good
tight rocky
God.
sections, you know, that trials background really.
They're doing
comes into
86
effect.
miles on this today.
The
Jeez.
South African riders don't really have that trials background that some of the other riders do.
Yeah, the two Brightmore brothers, I can remember them from riding trials, youth trials back in the day, and both had pretty solid trials backgrounds, and they're both putting the effort in now, and it's proven to be pretty useful for them. They're both 1 and 2 in the junior rankings, and looking pretty solid out front there. Johnny is zooming on his final lap now. This is obviously new to Johnny too. He hasn't done Romaniacs since this live Maniac section's been added, and it's definitely a change of pace. I would say it's questionable whether the riders like it or not, but at the end of the day, it's there. It's part of the race, and they've all got to get on with it. So, it'll be interesting to see how he feels about it.
Last lap here. See if Johnny can clean this. He has not. He has
a welcome addition to the race.
not cleaned it yet.
Just be out there doing one lap and getting on with it.
Oh, move a
Just
rock
to give
out of
you
the
an
way.
idea of how fast they were going through here. Manny's first lap, he did 3 minutes and 14 seconds. The estimated time was 5 minutes, so he was way quicker than what we expected. His second lap was 4 minutes, and his third lap, 3 minutes 49.
Johnny does not like this this little ledge right here.
Alfredo's first lap was 4 minutes and 6 seconds. So, you know, Manny's quite significantly quicker than the rest through.
Yeah. That is quite a big gap for such a short section.
Yeah.
You know, typically
Wow, he's like 40. Manny was like 45 seconds faster through this per lap than these guys are being.
They're climbing for 10, 15, 20 minutes, so to have that big of a gap on one of the shorter sections doesn't lead too well to give anyone else a chance for the rest of the day, to be honest. But let's see how it goes. Johnny's definitely improving.
What's up, chat? Anybody in chat? Anybody watching? Nobody's watching? It's cool. It's whatever.
Pretty solid there on the last lap.
So Alfredo, he's going to want to chase Johnny there, just maintain that gap behind him, you know, not let that elastic band snap. Just keep him in sight, because that's always what keeps you moving forward, helps you to keep the pace high.
Got Mitch into the section now too.
So this is Mitch Brightmore. He's junior. He's racing the junior championships, but they still race the same course. He's still on course with these guys, and I mean, it's pretty impressive that he's. I mean, he's like top 5.
Definitely a shock to the system. I don't think there's anything anyone can say to quite prepare you for this race, but it's a pretty amazing place to ride a dirt bike, that's for sure.
So these riders that are coming in behind Manny, they're doing more or less a minute a lap slower than Manny.
Wow.
Section.
So
already Manny's going to be clearing.
Manny's going to gain
on these guys
massive time, and it's all accumulative time. So from day 1 to the end of this thing, it's all accumulative. So if you can just build that lead day in and day out, you're going to be sitting pretty.
4 minutes and 6 seconds, and Johnny 4 minutes and 8.
So Manny,
and I don't know if Alfredo is right behind Johnny right now, but I don't know if Alfredo's on lap 2 or 3. I think he might be on lap 3.
When you've got such a long day over time, that adds up to quite a significant gap in the end. So Johnny just making it through. I think he'll be pretty happy to still be in second, though. He's been away for 4 years, and for him, it's a good place. He's around the top guys. If a few of them catch him on a couple of the longer gold sections, and he has to see Teo there having to jump off the back. So that's definitely not the first
me.
he wanted. I think,
but way worse.
Hopefully, as Johnny and
you see all the orange things on his handlebars. So yeah, those are just like those are goos, gummies, essentially just sugar to keep the energy up. And
so let's go across to Diana and get some thoughts from Johnny of how this section was for him.
Hello again. I have Johnny Walker near me. So Johnny, how was the section for you? Did you have enough after 1 lap? This is a question from Billy, by the way.
No. I'm struggling on the climbs. Even this morning when I get to the climbs, I'm really struggling, like losing my balance, and then have no speed for the rest of the hills.
Me too, dude. Fucking me too.
Changes at the stop this afternoon.
Haven't you been here already on this track? I think 4 years ago.
No, I've never rode this one before. I've seen the videos, so I kind of knew where I was going, what I was doing, but I feel like I was really slow. But I just didn't want to make a mistake.
What are the expectations for the rest of the day?
Just push to the service, and then hopefully we can make a good change. That I'm struggling so bad on the climb, so I need to do something to make it a bit easier.
Make the best of it. I wish you good luck.
Thank you.
I also have.
I wish I knew
Alfredo
what
Gomez
changes
here.
to
We
make
have
when
time also
when I'm
for an interview
struggling.
with him.
He's just saying that he's struggling a little bit in the climbs, and sometimes it can be just to get your eye in. You know, you've been focusing on the prologue and on the lines on the prologue, and when you get into the mountains here, it's a little bit of a change. You need to just get your eye in a little bit and get a little bit prepared. But Johnny will make that switch pretty quickly. Diana has Alfredo with her in the 5-minute box. Let's see how Alfredo went. on.
Kabachev.
Yep.
He's
Yep.
He's
I
an up
got
and
Alfredo
comer,
Gomez
big
right
time.
next to me. Hi, Alfredo. How is it going until now?
Very good. I took
Oh,
it
very
easy
good.
At the beginning,
I love the
one lap,
accents, dude. So sick.
and now I try to catch Johnny again here, and yeah, I'm 5 or 10 seconds behind, so good.
After yesterday's second position, what's your plan for the rest of the day?
I want to be around top 10 all days, and if in the last day both bike and me are still in shape, try to push.
Did you miss the race?
Yeah, always.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
It's a pretty interesting that both Johnny and Manny both wanted to make some bike changes. I think the dryness and the looseness of the
What's
ground
up,
will
Aiden?
definitely be playing a big role into that kind of off-balance feeling. And when the ground's moving so much underneath you, you're trying to having to counterbalance it all the time, and it's a difficult place to ride. You know, there's nowhere to kind of really prepare for it. You know, these hills are so long, so steep, and definitely from Johnny's perspective, after not being here for so long, I can fully understand that it's a shock to his system here for his first time in a while. You know, there's times on the first day I've looked around and thought,
Is that
you can't ride a motorbike up there, or you can't ride a motorbike down there. That's not possible. And then by the end of the last day, you're jumping down these hills, or you're just attacking them without even giving it a second thought. So
Yeah.
I'm sure as we tick a few more gold sections off, you'll get more and more used to it. And hopefully,
So this is this outside line.
couple of positive
Manny
changes
went
at the
went
start,
outside
but I
first,
think
and then his last 2 laps he went straight up it.
And what kind of setup changes will they be making? Will it be to the suspension or the service crews? Maybe drill the mousse and make the mousse a little bit softer?
Yeah, I think mousses, everyone tends to have a good setup, but it quite often it can expand due to the heat of the faster sections. I would say more likely suspension or kind of balance of the bike. Maybe he's increase the sag a little bit just to keep the ride height up a little bit, depending if he's kind of feeling that the ground's a bit far away from him, or maybe he's actually feeling that the bike's a bit low and wanting to wheelie. That makes the front end light and then can make it quite difficult to steer on these climbs. So yeah, there's quite a few different things. I would guess it would be more suspension than anything else, but it's got 4 more days to get the setup right. So I'm sure by the end of the week he can be pretty happy and have a good setup for next year.
We're just watching. This is the live section from Romaniacs Day
Let's
1.
go down to Diana and Wade.
They're just each racer has 3 laps right here.
Today shall be the hardest gold class day. Are you planning to ride safely, or are you planning to attack today?
Just trying to ride my own race, keep good rhythm, and yeah, just push on, push hard as I can all day.
How were these 3 laps? Did you miss them?
Yeah, it was quite challenging. Couple of mistakes, but we're still early in the day, so yeah, just trying to get my rhythm as quick as possible and push on.
Any expectations for the rest of the race?
No, just push.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
So Wade definitely pushing hard, because on our provisional results here on the day,
It's just crazy to
Wade
see.
is in second place
Like, it
behind
was
Manny. So
insane how
definitely on a
clean
charge.
Manny
He's
was through
leading
this.
the World Championship standings, and he's want to keep it that way and just stick to Manny's back wheel all the way to maintain that lead.
Get a good close-up there just to see how loose the ground is and how much it's actually changing with each rider. I would say, to be honest, it's probably getting worse and worse with each rider. So those that didn't start, like the later starting positions from kind of the 7th, 8th place onwards are going to probably find this section even more difficult than the front guys. So we got good bit of traffic.
Oh,
here.
dude,
We got
it's
Sufsella,
falling
David Siegfried,
apart.
and Michael Wagner all waiting to tackle this.
Sufsella, he was at
as we've seen, has proven to be the hardest bit of the section.
he was at
It does look like it's getting more and
Idaho
more
as well.
chewed up with
Silver Kings.
every tire that rides over it.
And Teo was pushing his bike there where we earlier saw Manny riding it on the foot pegs. And just before we went to the interviews, Teo actually dropping his bike here. He didn't have the greatest prologue, starting quite a bit further back than what he's used to. You know, he likes to be up there fighting at the front. Do you think that he's just overriding the course a little
All right, guys,
bit,
I got to go,
just a
actually.
little bit inside
I got a
his own
meeting.
head? You know, he just needs to settle down a bit.
I think, yeah, he could definitely be overriding it. That's easy to do. But Teo's a
And,
strange guy, a strange one. Really,
I actually haven't looked at
because often you
results
him make a lot
to
of
see who
mistakes,
won the day, but
but you know, physically,
should we do that
he's
real
super
quick?
strong, and you can spend quite a few hours in a day with him and see him have to throw the bike or drop the bike quite a few times, and he can still be there with you at the end of the day. So I wouldn't look too closely into the mistakes because he's got a big engine on him, and I think he can physically he can hang in there for a while. So we'll see how it goes. I think if there's a few more super technical sections, then he tends to drop off a little bit. But if the race kind of stays at this level, then yeah, the
Manny
mistakes I
Lettenbleckler.
wouldn't worry too much about because it doesn't seem to affect him like it affects most people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
he
this
put
section is
28
getting worse.
minutes
David
on
Siegfried also
Mario
struggling
Roman.
now. I think
So he's going into day
the
2 with a
front guy and
28-minute
first man
lead.
grip is definitely proven to be a thing
Wade
this
Young
year
sits
with how
in
loose the
third.
ground is.
And the thing is that
He sits 32 minutes behind Manny.
underneath is just roots and rocks.
Michael
It's really, really
Wagner
slippery.
sits
So
33
you wanna
minutes.
choose your own line and take some
Teo
tracks
Kabachev,
that you've been
37
before,
minutes.
fresh dirt.
Graham
Come down to
Jarvis,
the roots and rocks. It's just super slippery and you don't get
an
the
hour
bite.
and 32 minutes.
Francesc Moret,
Wow,
yeah.
so that's a
I think that
crazy,
his first Romaniacs,
that's a
they,
crazy gap.
another
It's
ex-Charles rider,
those
Trevor
top 5 guys are
not riding.
within 30 minutes, and then old Graham,
Had some
the
pretty good
legend.
results so far this year. I think
But that's, you know, it's just crazy. He's still battling 6th, and he is proven to be
showing for his first
no
year.
one to be
Yeah,
messed with.
6th
So
place for
it'll be interesting to see how these times shape up the next few days. But
And the first 3 guys on the course, Manny.
and this guy right here in the red, that's Michael Wagner. He was
So they all know what to expect. They all know what to do from
he's
here.
4th overall.
I think it looks like Mario is
Which is
provisionally
nice.
gone into second.